Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. This is your host, Ben B9400. Ben discusses history. I apologize for the lack of updates. Internet from my current location isn't always guaranteed, neither is it secure, but that isn't the point. My point is, in today's episode, we're going to be discussing a sensitive subject matter, and before I get into the details of that, I just want to give you a heads up. I'm going to be talking about Chinese serial killers, and if that isn't your thing and that makes you uncomfortable and queasy, then by all means, click off and check back in with me later when I'm not covering a subject that's of a sensitive nature such as this one. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Gao Chenyang, infamously dubbed the Chinese Jack the Ripper, was a notorious serial killer and rapist in the People's Republic of China. Born on the 10th of November 1964 in Yuzhong County, Gansu Province, Inner Mongolia, he committed a series of heinous crimes between 1988 and 2002, targeting women and girls in Baiyin, Gansu, and Baitou, Inner Mongolia. His youngest known victim was just 8 years old. Gao's modus operandi involved following victims dressed in red during the daytime, trailing them to their homes and then assaulting them. He would then R-word them, murder, and often mutilate their bodies, removing reproductive organs and other body parts. Some victims were subject to necrophilic acts. Despite the brutality of his crimes, Gao evaded capture for nearly 3 decades. In 2016, a breakthrough occurred when DNA collected from a relative arrested for an unrelated offense matched evidence from the crime scenes. This led authorities to Gao, who was apprehended at the grocery store he owned and operated with his wife in Baiyin. He eventually confessed to 11 murders and was convicted in March of 2018. Gao was eventually sentenced to death and executed on the 3rd of January 20. Shihai, born the 17th of July 1968, also known by aliases such as Yang Ziha, Yang Liu, was a Chinese serial killer and mass murderer. He confessed to committing 67 murders and 23 R-words between 1999 and 2003, making him the most prolific known serial killer in China since the establishment of the People's Republic in 1949. Born in the Zhu Meidin, Henan province, Yang was the youngest of 4 siblings born into a very poor family. He was described as intelligent but introverted. At 17, he left school and began drifting across China, taking on various labor jobs. His earlier criminal record included convictions for theft in 1988 and 1991, leading to sentences of forced labor. In 1996, he was imprisoned for attempted R-word and released in 1999. Yang's killing spree spanned 4 provinces: Henan, Hebei, Anhui, and Shandong. He typically targeted rural households at night, breaking in and murdering all occupants, men, women, and children, using blunt instruments like hammers, axes, or shovels. His preferred weapon was the hammer. He often R-worded female victims before or after killing them, and sometimes murdered entire families. To avoid detection, he changed his clothes frequently and wore shoes larger than his size to mislead investigators. On the 3rd of November 2003, Yang was arrested in Kangzhou, Hebei province, during a routine police check. He attempted to flee but was apprehended. At the time of his arrest, he was carrying a knife and 500 yuan, but had no identification. Subsequent DNA tests linked him to multiple crime scenes. He confessed to 65 murders and 23 R-words. Though he was ultimately convicted of 67 murders, on the 1st of February 2004, he was sentenced to death and executed by a single gunshot to the back of the head on the 14th of February 2004. Yang never managed to provide a clear motive for his crimes. Some reports suggest he sought revenge against society following personal setbacks, including a breakup after his criminal past was revealed. However, in his own words, he expressed a lack of remorse and desired to continue killing, stating, "When I kill people, I have a desire to kill. It's more of an addiction." His case remains one of the most horrifying in China's criminal history and is often regarded as the monster killer by the media. Zhang Yongmin was a Chinese serial killer and cannibal convicted of murdering 11 men between 2008 and 2012 in Yunnan province. He was subsequently executed by firearm in January of 2013. Little is known about Zhang's early life. but in 1979 he was sentenced to death for intentional homicide, but was released in 1997 after his sentence was reduced. Upon release, he returned to his village in Jining County, Yunnan. Between March 2008 and April of 2012, Zhang murdered 11 men, primarily targeting young males walking alone near his home. He strangled his victims and disposed of their bodies through dismemberment, burning, or burial. Some reports indicate he fed human flesh to his dogs and sold it at local markets labeled as ostrich meat. Police discovered human eyeballs preserved in bottles and flesh hanging to dry in his home. Zhang was apprehended on the 9th of May 2012 after a thorough investigation into missing teenagers led authorities to him. He was found guilty of intentional homicide and executed subsequently on the 10th of January 2013. 12 police officers assigned to his case were subsequently penalized for negligence in investigating the disappearances. Huan Yang, born the 18th of November 1974, was a Chinese serial killer convicted of murdering 17 teenage boys between September 2001 and November of 2003 in Henan province. Although officially convicted of 17 murders, he claimed to have killed at least 25 victims. Born in Henan, People's Republic of China, Huang served in the Chinese army before becoming a migrant worker in southern mainland China, engaging in various agricultural jobs. He later returned to Henan, where he committed his crimes. Modus operandi. Huang targeted teenage boys, luring them from video halls, internet cafes, and arcades with promises of well-paying jobs or educational opportunities. Once at his home, he would drug and strangle them, sometimes reviving them multiple times to prolong their suffering before killing them ultimately. He kept some of their belts as souvenirs. Huang stated that he chose male victims because killing women or girls will make him feel less heroic. In November 2003, a 16-year-old boy named Huang Liang escaped from Huang's home after surviving an attempted murder. Initially skeptical, police eventually arrested Huang, who confessed to the murders. He was convicted of 17 murders and sentenced to death on the 9th of December 2003. Huang was executed by shooting on the 26th of December 2003. Chen Yangfen, born 1983 in the People's Republic of China, was a young and particularly disturbing serial killer in China whose crimes were notable not only for their brutality but also for how quickly they occurred within a short time span. His victims were mostly migrant workers and scrap collectors in the city of Xixi, Zhejiang province. He mostly lured his victims to his home under the pretense of buying or selling scrap metal, and once inside of his property, he would strangle them, often using rope or wire. He then dismembered their bodies and disposed of their remains in a nearby river or trash dump. After killing them, he would steal any money or valuables the victims had on them. Most of them were poor, earning just a few yuan a day. Chen claimed he killed for money and to avoid being caught after robbing his victims. During police interviews, he showed little remorse and said killing became easier with each victim. He was subsequently caught in May of 2003 when police noticed a pattern of disappearances among scrap metal collectors, and when arrested, he confessed quickly and led police to locations where he disposed of the bodies. And due to the severity of his crimes and his lack of remorse, the court fast-tracked his trial. He was subsequently executed by firing squad in June of 2003, just a month after his arrest that year. Chen Yangfen is a chilling example of a young, impulsive serial killer who acted for financial gain, but escalated rapidly into repetitive murder. His case shocked the People's Republic of China because of his youth at the time. He was only 20 years old. The speed and cold calculation of his murders, and the swiftness of justice in response to his horrific crimes. That just about wraps up today's episode. Thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. It's much appreciated. Please make sure to subscribe, leave a comment down below, like the video, and switch on the notification bell in order to receive regular updates from me, because it helps me out considerably in terms of expanding my brand name. So until next time, this has been yours truly, B9400, Ben Discusses History. Until next time.